The following video is a dramatic reading and visual reconstruction of the script for the cancelled Legend of Spyro movie. Slated for release in 2009, the movie got cancelled very early into production, and rumours that a finished script existed circulated in the fandom for years, when finally, in the year 2022, it was found. And oh boy, it's really bad! We hear an ancient voice that seems to be speaking from a faraway place.
For centuries, we dragons lived in peace.
Fade in on an ancient world, day. A pink sun rises over a magical landscape of rolling hills and lush forests. A silver river weaves through the countryside, shimmering in the sunlight, and all around there are dragons. Yellow ones, blue ones, green ones, dragons of every colour. They fly through the sky, run through the tall grass, and drift lazily down the river on their backs.
We prospered, lived in harmony with all the creatures in the lands, and was a time of great balance.
A few dragons flap into an overgrown valley, I hate the word flap as a verb, and emerge with mouths full of juicy berries. A couple others playfully chase each other through the clouds in a game of dragon tag, and we watch as a mother and father fly beside their dragon son and cheer him on as he takes to the air for the very first time.
Perhaps we were also blinded by the light. We were unable to see the darkness approaching on the horizon.
Blast! A burst of fire explodes out of the clouds, knocking two of the dragons out of the sky.
We were unable to see the coming of the one they call the Dark Master.
We hear a mighty roar and see two red eyes shine out of the clouds. They shine brighter and brighter and white out the screen. We then regain our focus and we find ourselves in a dark room, night, where a small egg sits on a soft bed of thatch, glowing with the luminescence that seems to come from within. A mighty red dragon stands before it. This is Ignitus. He finishes his story.
And that is why you are so important, young one. For with you comes hope.
Ignitus smiles down at the egg when, boom, the room shakes. Ignitus's eyes widen. Boom, the room shakes again and the entire temple starts trembling. Dirt falls from the ceiling.
Shit.
Faults appear in the walls. Ignitus tries to steady himself when, crack! The stone pedestal supporting the egg starts to give way. The egg rolls out of its nest and drops, but Ignitus catches it just in time. Phew! The gravelly voice of another dragon suddenly bellows from outside.
They found us! Guardians, save the eggs!
Ignitus darts over to an opening in the rock wall and peers out to see dragons scrambling from roosts and taking off into the night with eggs in their mouths. Ziz! Blasts of... That's a word. Blasts of green acid suddenly come from out of nowhere, hitting a blue one in mid-flight.
Cyril!
Ignitus watches in horror as the dragon clutches its chest and falls into the darkness, the egg falling with him. Ignitus scans the sky for the source of the blast and is shocked by what he sees. A pack of hideous creatures is emerging from the clouds, hissing in delight. They have sharp claws and jagged yellow teeth, and their bodies seem to consist of rotting leaves, twisted thatch, and dripping mud, as if they were cut from the earth itself. These elemental beasts hang there in the sky, their red eyes gleaming.
Surrender the eggs as the Dark Master has ordered!
There's no use in resisting!
Oh, give them to us if you want your temple to stand through the night.
A yellow dragon suddenly bursts from the temple with an egg in its mouth. It is spotted by two of the elemental beasts and they descend on him. One extends a sharp tail and stings the dragon like a scorpion. The dragon goes limp as the other elemental beast grabs the egg out of its mouth and flies away.
The eggs! Protect the other eggs!
And then he's gone. Ignitus turns away from the window and rushes to the egg.
It is time, little one.
He picks up the egg and places it under his wing, when crash! The wall suddenly explodes, revealing 4 more of the elemental beasts.
Give it to us now!
Ignitus turns away to shelter the egg and smiles.
Isn't it nice when your enemies line up for you?
He inhales, and blast! Hits the beast with a burst of red fire. The beasts are blown back, and Ignitus takes the egg in his mouth and flies out into the night. Ignitus hits the sky, flapping as fast as he can. 3 of the beasts regroup and give chase.
He's defenseless with the egg in his mouth.
He cannot use his fire!
They all charge when suddenly Ignitus tosses the egg into the air, blasts his surprised opponents, and catches it again. One of the beasts falls from the sky, but the other 2 keep coming. Ziz, ziz, ziz! They spit their green acid at him. Ignitus does his best to dodge, but the beasts stay with him. Bam! One of them rams him from the side. Bam! The other one rams him from the other side. Both
I like a good rabbit.
Both beasts suddenly pull up and go to ram him at once. But Ignitus hits the bricks and the beasts slam into each other. Ignitus smiles and zooms past them. The beasts scream in rage and shoot off after him. As they pick up speed, they start spinning through the air like flying eels. Okay? They get closer and closer, and then, slam! They connect with Ignitus's neck and the egg flies loose.
No!
Ignitus watches in horror as it falls through the sky and splash drops into the Silver River. Ignitus dives after it, but the beasts follow and they all chase after the egg as it heads downstream and into raging rapids. The egg is bounced around, narrowly missing sharp rocks. Ignitus follows and tries to grab it, but the beasts grab his tail and pull him back. They slam him against the rock walls, sending boulders dropping into the river. The egg barely avoids destruction. Ignitus narrows his eyes. Enough of this. He flies out of the channel and towards a brittle thicket of trees in the distance. The beasts follow, and he suddenly turns around in the air and blasts! The trees ignite in an explosion of fire, and the beasts are thrown back. Ignitus drops into the Silver River and finally snatches the egg. He checks it. It's still intact. He looks around. What now? When something suddenly catches his eye. A glimmer in the forest up ahead. Ignitus brightens. He casts a glance behind him. There's no sign of the beasts. He flaps off towards the glimmer. Ignitus lands in a quiet woodland glen. The glimmer is gone now. He looks around and whispers into the fog.
Brothers, please. It is I, Ignitus the dragon. I need your help.
Only the gentle rustling of the trees can be heard.
I beg you reveal yourselves.
Suddenly, little glowing orbs of light emerge from the wood. They appear to be dragonflies. They circle around Ignitus, setting his desperate face aglow.
There is no time to explain. I call on the allegiance of our distant ancestry. Take this egg. Raise it in secret. It is the only hope we have.
The dragonflies exchange hesitant glances. One, a serious-looking bug with a strong, steady glow, flies to the fore. This is Flash.
Wherever there are dragons, there is war. We are peaceful creatures, Dragon Ignitus. Don't bring your trouble to us.
This egg will end all wars. It has been prophesied. The dragon will hatch from it and will bring peace to all the lands. Please, you must help me.
The dragonflies look at each other, unsure, when a shadow falls on them. They all look up to see the 2 elemental beasts circling in the sky. Ignitus gives the dragonflies a pleading look. It's now or never. Suddenly, a female dragonfly with gentle eyes flies forwards. This is Luna.
We will do what we can.
Flash looks at her and shakes his head. Ignitus smiles with relief and rolls the egg to her. The dragonflies lift it up and carry it towards a hidden passage in the rock when... Ziz! Ziz! A blast of green acid whizzed past Ignitus. The beasts have found him. He casts one last gaze towards the dragonflies, then takes off into the sky. Slam! The beasts are suddenly upon him, tearing and clawing at him. One of them raises its sharp tail and sting. Ignitus goes limp. He tumbles through the air and drops lifelessly into the Silver River. The beasts cackle in triumph and swoop towards the glen. It's deserted. There is no sign of the egg. They roar with frustration and scream into the woods.
Hide! Hide from us now, but you cannot hide forever. The Dark Master will find you and prove the folly of this so-called prophecy.
Ziz! They blast the trees with their green acid and take off into the night. Dissolve 2. The Dragonfly Glen, night. We're in a secret valley hidden in the forest. 2 dragonflies flutter around the egg. Flash and Luna. Husband and wife.
I don't know why I didn't stop you. I should have put my wing down.
You and your wing. It's the right thing to do, and you know it. Dragons and dragonflies have an ancient pact.
What are we going to do? Raise it as one of our own? We already have an egg.
So what's one more?
Luna gives him a smile. Flash frowns, giving in. The wife always wins, even in the world of dragonflies. Misogyny! Fucking
The wife might win, but she has to pay child support. So...
Just misogyny, thank you.
Interior, cozy dragonfly dwelling, later that night. Luna and Flash roll the egg into a soft bed of thatch next to a much smaller egg, a dragonfly egg. Luna pats the eggs and dusts them off. She turns to her husband and gives him a look. He blinks. What? Oh, right. He flutters off, returning a beat later with some leaves. He places one on top of the dragonfly egg, covering it like a blanket. Luna smiles. He places one on top of the dragon egg. It sits on top of it like a hat. Flash smiles. Luna doesn't. He sighs and flies off again.
Stop it. Get some help.
Dissolve 2. Expectant parents montage. Pan down a row of... Woo! Fucking... Pan down a row of expectant dragonfly mothers, all knitting tiny little booties with happy little silkworm helpers by their side. At the end of the row, Luna is knitting an enormous pair of booties. Her silkworm helper desperately tries to keep up. Pan down a row of expectant dragonfly fathers, building tiny little cribs. At the end of the row, Flash is hammering the last nail into an enormous crib. Bang, bang, crash, the entire thing falls over. The other expectant dragonfly fathers laugh. A dragonfly doctor holds a stethoscope made of sticks up to the dragonfly egg and lets Flash listen. Thump, 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 thump. Flash lights up. The doctor then holds the stethoscope up to the dragon egg and lets Flash listen. Thump, thump! Flash is blown across the room. End sequence on interior cozy dragonfly dwelling, night. The egg sits in their nests before a flickering fire. Luna flutters before them with a warm smile.
Any day now, Flash. Any day now.
Behind her, Flash gives her a look and then passes out. We push into the embers of the fire and dissolve to the mountain of Malefor, night. A dark mountain is hideously framed against the jewel moons. Its peak is shaped like a gargoyle, twisting unnaturally into the night sky. A moat of bubbling tar winds around it like an oily snake. It's bleak, horrible. We move inside. A large red gem sits atop a stone pedestal, bathing the room in an eerie glow. A small black bat with oversized fangs hangs upside down from the ceiling. This is Pox. He watches as 2 of the elemental beasts slither in, one holding an egg.
Master! The beasts! They have returned!
The elemental beasts approach the darkest corner of the room and place the egg down like an offering.
As you commanded, Master.
2 red eyes appear in the darkness. They gaze down on the egg and narrow.
This is not the egg of prophecy!
The elemental beasts flinch and cower.
Oh boy. This is gonna be good.
Pox watches with sadistic delight as one of the elemental beasts summons enough courage to step up towards the red eyes.
But the Guardians, is it the one they coveted? How can you be sure?
You dare question me?
Sorry, Master, we have failed you. Let us take it away and...
Silence! Leave it where it lies. I will make use of it.
The elemental beasts back away.
We will return to the temple. We will find egg you seek.
No.
The elemental The elemental beasts stop.
Your service has come to an end.
Blast! Fire suddenly explodes out of the darkness, reducing the elemental beasts to piles of dust. Pox giggles with delight at the display, and the reflection of the red eyes appears on the egg.
As for you, your service has only just begun.
A claw reaches out and pets the egg.
And your brother egg will be found. It will be found.
The red crystal suddenly pulses, filling the room with its crimson glow.
Pox! I have a task for you.
Pox's eyes widen with delight. He launches off the ceiling and lands on the egg.
Anything, Master. Anything.
As Pox waits for his instructions, we move close to the egg and dissolve to cozy dragonfly dwelling, night, where the other dragon egg sits in a bed of soft thatch next to the dragonfly egg. Suddenly, one of the eggs trembles. Luna flies up. What was that? She stares down at the eggs, but it looks like it was nothing. She shrugs and goes to fly off again when the other egg trembles. Luna spins back around and watches with excitement as both of the eggs start to twitch and shake. She turns and...
Flash, I think they're hatching. I think they're both hatching.
Flash quickly appears by her side, frazzled.
Okay, let's just stay calm. Breathe, honey. I need you to breathe. The important thing is not to panic.
He starts flying back and forth in a panic and...
I'm going to boil some water.
He goes to fly off, but Luna grabs him.
Honey, just watch.
Flash takes a deep breath and watches with Luna as the eggs continue to twitch and tremble and... crack! The expectant parents gasp as a little yellow dragonfly pokes his head out of the smaller egg. He's cute, wide-eyed, and is a spitting image of Flash and Luna. The proud parents glow even brighter at the sight of him when... crack! The other egg cracks open and a much bigger head pops out of it. It's cute, wide-eyed, and looks nothing like Flash and Luna. It's a little purple dragon. Luna gives both of her babies a maternal smile. Flash looks at the dragon, not sure how to feel, then turns to the dragonfly and smiles proudly.
My son will be named Sparx.
Luna gives him a look.
And our other son will be named...
Flash looks at the little purple dragon and then looks away. He's not ready to accept this. Luna frowns at him and then smiles at her new dragon son.
Spyro. We will call him Spyro.
Luna smiles as the two babies look around at their new world. They see each other and smile. Brothers. Then they both start wailing. Babies. Cut to the baby sequence. Luna sits in a rocking chair, gently rocking Sparx to sleep in her lap. Pan over to see Flash in a rocking chair, struggling under the weight of Spyro in his lap. Just when Spyro falls asleep, crash, the chair breaks and Spyro falls to the ground, completely flattening Flash. And then Spyro starts wailing again. Luna holds a bottle of glowing milk to Sparx's mouth, and he gently suckles it down. Pan over to see Flash, surrounded by dozens of empty bottles, frantically trying to keep up as Spyro chugs and chugs. The bottle empties and Flash reaches for another, but he's out. Spyro looks at him and, you guessed it, starts wailing again. Luna takes a tiny diaper off Sparx and flies off. Pan over to see Flash removing an enormous diaper from Spyro. It's busting at the seams. Flash winces and goes to carry it off, but he loses his balance, flips to the ground, and the diaper lands on top of him. Splat! Spyro finally stops wailing and starts laughing. Sparx joins in, and the two brothers laugh and laugh together. Dissolved to the Dragonfly Glen, Flash and Luna's dwelling. Luna flutters in place, exercising on her flutter mill. She finally stops, out of breath, and flies over to what looks like a small scale on the ground. She steps on, but doesn't like what it says.
Oh, I'm never gonna lose this egg weight.
She shakes her head when...
Luna! Luna! Quick!
What is it?
Sparx! I think he's about to take his first flap. Oh god.
I fucking hate the word flap.
I misread that as fat, and I don't want to talk about it.
Why is he taking his first flap? That's rude.
It's an important time in any growing boy.
And that's why we will make it into a movie.
Luna's eyes widen and she flies to the other room to see Flash fluttering in the air over Sparx and Spyro. They're a bit older now, toddler age, and Sparx's wings are just beginning to unfold. Luna and Flash watch in awe as little Sparx flaps one wing, flaps another, and then flutters into the air.
He did it!
I did it.
Our little baby is flying! He's flying, Flash!
They watch in awe as Sparx awkwardly flutters higher and higher into the air, flying for the very first time. Spyro watches his brother and gets a determined look in his eye. He turns and looks at his own undersized wings. Why not? He strains and one of them flaps.
Flash, look!
Flash turns to see Spyro's little wings starting to flap too. He and Luna watch as Spyro flaps them faster and faster and then jumps into the air and crash! Slams right into the kitchen table, breaking it to pieces. Flash winces, Luna rushes over, and Sparx breaks into hysterics. Spyro shakes off the debris and shrugs. Oh well. Dissolve to the Dragonfly Glen. Time passes. Seasons change in the Glen. Summer to fall to winter to the colourful return of spring. We move into Flash and Luna's dwelling to see Luna fluttering nervously in front of Flash.
I don't know, maybe we should wait until next season.
Luna, it's time. We have to let him spread his wings.
Swish pan to reveal Spyro. Older now. He's the age and size he'll be for the rest of the story. He's standing on the ground and trying to spread his wings. He gives them a little flap, but nothing happens.
Hey, come on, bro. You call that flapping?
Sparx! That is really perfect, holy shit. Sparx, also older, flies into frame.
That's weirdly perfect.
It's the first day of school. If you don't get a lift off soon, we're doomed. We'll be stuck at the crumb beetle table at lunch. And you know what those guys eat?
I'm trying, Sparx, I'm trying.
Spyro flaps his wings again. Still nothing. Sparx slaps his forehead.
Crumb beetles, here we come.
Spyro gives him a look and smiles.
Hey, we'll be sitting with them anyway, thanks to the haircut Mom gave you.
Sparx's eyes widen.
I told her to go easy on the antenna.
Sparx self-consciously adjusts his antenna. Spyro laughs.
And besides, flying or no flying, I'm still faster than you.
Spyro turns and runs out the door.
Hey, wait up!
Sparx flies after him. Flash and Luna flutter into the door.
Be careful, boys. Look both ways before you cross the stream. Don't talk to any strange bugs. And come straight home after.
Luna, belly fine.
Flash puts his arm around her and gives her a squeeze. Luna wrings her hands and tries not to worry. Cut to the Dragonfly Glen, day. Sparx chases Spyro through the glen. He flies past him, swatting him on the back of the head as he passes.
Ha! How's that for fast?
Sparx turns around and gives Spyro a taunting smile when, bonk, he flies right into a low tree branch.
Ow!
Spyro laughs, ducks under the branch and runs past him.
I don't know, how's that for clumsy?
Sparx rubs his head and flies after him. They chase each other through the glen and soon catch up with other young dragonflies heading towards a clearing in the distance. A cute dragonfly girl flies past Sparx and gives him a smile.
Hi, I'm Glimmer.
Sparx turns to her. Shut up!
You're simply speechless, Romeo.
Sparx turns to her and his eyes widen. She's just so pretty. Big fluttering eyelashes and a smile that completely lights up her face. Sparx's jaw goes slack and he completely loses the ability to speak.
Oh, hi,
Turn to a rabbit.
Sparx suddenly freezes in the air and drops into a bush. Glimmer shrugs and continues after the other dragonflies.
Oh, what a pun!
Sparx?
Spyro runs up to the bush and parts the branches to reveal Sparx, still moon-eyed and slack-jawed.
Sparx, are you okay?
Sparx shakes it off.
Yeah, I'm fine. I just tripped, that's all.
In midair?
Sparx pulls himself up and dusts himself off.
Let's just get to class, okay?
He flies after the other dragonflies. Spyro grins and flies after him.
No problem, bwah.
We watch it, punk.
Sparx turns and gives Spyro a look.
What? Isn't that your new name?
Sparx does a slow boil and flies off.
As you
Spyro
do.
giggles and runs after him.
Glimmerin' bwah, sitting in a tree. Glowing.
Oh, the fucking... I'm getting my vodka.
Wow, the W really messes up the flow of that.
Sparx frowns, humiliated, and they follow all the other young dragonflies into the clearing. Right as they do, we see a small black creature appear in the trees. It's the Dark Master's bat, Pox. He chuckles to himself and flies off. Exterior, Dragonfly Glen, clearing. Dozens of young dragonflies are gathering before a stern dragonfly teacher.
All right. Stop fluttering and gather around.
The dragonflies settle and hover before the teacher. Sparx and Spyro approach and take their place at the back of the class.
Now then, I see you all have found your wings. Very good. No late flyers among us.
At the back of the group, Spyro shrinks down behind all the dragonflies and tries to hide.
I wonder how many of you realise just how important flying is. It is our greatest defence, and the secret to our survival. What do I mean by that? 2 words, fight or flight.
The dragonfly teacher flutters back and forth in front of the class.
When we dragonflies are threatened, which do we choose?
He points to a gangly dragonfly in the front row.
Flight?
Correct. When we dragonflies find ourselves confronted by the adversary, which do we choose?
He points to a pretty dragonfly with braided antennae.
Flight.
Exactly. And when we dragonflies are in a situation where we sense there might be even the slightest chance of danger, which do we choose?
All the dragonflies answer this at once.
Fly!
Fly! Oh, god damn it.
Very good. Flying is not just what we do, lass. This is what we are. We are dragonflies, not dragon fights.
He smiles and pauses for a laugh, but one doesn't come.
Never gets a laugh. Anyway, today we will work on mastering your technique. I will teach you how to dart and hover, zig and zig, and most importantly, how to zoom.
Ooh.
Now, come, follow me to the training course.
The dragonfly teacher flutters off and all the students fly after him. Sparx goes to join the group, but sees Spyro standing there looking at his feet. Spyro thinks for a second, then suddenly flutters after the teacher.
Hey, Teach. Can I talk to you for a second?
Yes, what is it?
Sparx lean in, confidentially.
It's, my brother. He hasn't really,
I can't fly.
The dragonfly teacher turns to see Spyro standing there on the ground.
Ah yes, young Spyro, isn't it? Looking forward to having you in my class. Don't worry, son. We'll have you up and off the ground before you know it. We just have to get a little creative.
Spyro looks at him nervously. Creative? Cut to the Dragonfly Glen clearing, a beat later. As a group of young dragonflies slalom down an obstacle course of trees and rocks, we pull back to see Spyro, hooked into an elaborate system of pulleys. Ropes are tied to his wings, and his body is in a training sling. The teacher flutters beside him, holding the end of the rope.
You just need little help getting off the... Ah, fuck.
Getting off?
Oh no!
I don't want to be part of this class
What
anymore.
school is this?
This is a kids movie?
You just need little help getting the motions down, that's all. So, on the count of 3, flap those wings, and I'll do the rest. Got it, kiddo?
Sure, I guess I'll give it a try.
Good. Now, 1, 2, and flap!
Spyro starts flapping his wings as fast as he can, and the dragonfly teacher pulls on the rope. The pulley system kicks in, and Spyro starts to actually rise off the ground.
That's it, keep flapping. Stop now, boy.
Spyro flaps and flaps, but then one of his wings gets caught in the ropes, and crunk, the entire system starts to unravel.
Whoa!
The dragonfly teacher is suddenly yanked forward and pulled through the system of pulleys. The entire system collapses. Spyro drops to the ground, and the teacher drops beside him, flattened.
Dead.
Not bad. We'll first try.
He passes out. Cut to a quick series of shots. The other dragonfly students watch with wide eyes as the dragonfly teacher and 2 assistants fly under Spyro's wings like little fluttering training wheels. Spyro slowly rises into the air, and then he's released. He hovers in the air for a moment, flying on his own, and then suddenly drops out of frame with a crash. Spyro stands in the middle of the clearing with some sort of hose in his mouth. Pan over to see the dragonfly teacher fluttering over to a small hand pump. He starts pumping and Spyro starts to inflate and rise into the air. And then...
Very stressed.
Why?
Censored.
He's very stressed.
And then Spyro sneezes, shooting himself out of frame and blowing the teacher to the ground. Oh. Whoa.
Who the fuck
Blowing
wrote
the
this?
teacher?
He got so proud that he needs to re-ceiling.
We've had like a scat joke, and we've had an inflation joke.
Oh,
Now, a very nervous Spyro sits in a small basket that's part of a very huge slingshot. The Dragonfly teacher's assistants pull him back and zing! He's shot out of frame. All the Dragonflies follow his trajectory with their eyes up, 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 and then straight down. Crash!
How's he not dead?
Exterior, Dragonfly Glen, clearing. All the Dragonflies laugh as Spyro stumbles out of the bushes. He shakes off some twigs and looks up at all of the laughing faces around him. One of the Dragonflies calls out,
Hey, what do you call a dragonfly who can't fly?
I don't know.
A dragon walk!
The Dragonflies laugh even harder. Spyro looks down when a Dragonfly bully with a red glow flies up.
I don't think he's a dragonfly at all. I don't know what he is.
The Dragonfly flies around Spyro, looking him up and down.
What's with you? No fly zone? Why can't you fly? Why are you so gigantoid? And are you purple?
I don't know.
You know what I think? I think you're nothing but a freak.
Spyro winces, hurt, when Sparx comes pushing through the crowd.
Hey, lay off, bud. He's not a freak. Don't say that.
The Dragonfly bully gives Sparx a look.
You're one to talk. Nice, haircut.
The crowd explodes with laughter. Sparx turns bright red and covers his antenna.
Stop it! Just stop it! Stop picking on us!
But Spyro's so wimpy. Oh, Jesus.
Stop it.
The Dragonfly bully pulls back to Spyro and gets right in his face.
Why don't you make me?
Spyro glares up at the bully and then sags.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Spyro looks at his feet.
Hey, come on, Spyro. Let's get out of here.
Sparx pulls Spyro off. Whoa!
Hey, Spyro, I got something to cheer you up.
Sparx pulls Spyro off as they go.
See you around, gigantoid!
More Dragonfly laughs accompany Sparx and Spyro as they disappear into the trees. Exterior, Dragonfly Glen, afternoon. Spyro shuffles through the forest. Sparx flies by his side.
Hey, don't let that guy get you down, bro. He's been a rotten egg since, well, he was an egg.
Spyro shakes his head.
But he's right, Sparx. Why can't I fly? Why am I so big? And why am I the only dragonfly this color?
Sparx shrugs.
You might as well ask why I'm so good looking. Every dragonfly is different, that's all.
Yeah, I just think I'm more different than most.
Spyro sighs, and Sparx gives him a look and tries to snap him out of it.
Hey, I know what'll cheer you up. Mom says she's making grub burgers for dinner tonight. Come on, I'll race you.
Spyro brightens a bit.
Okay, but you know the rules. No flying, no narrow shortcuts, no... Hey!
Sparx is already way ahead of him. Spyro laughs and races after him, through the pleasant woods. It's a fun little chase between best friends, but when they emerge from the trees into the Dragonfly Glen, they find their village is under attack! Strange creatures are knocking over nests and chasing dragonflies with clubs like elemental beasts. These creatures also appear to be cut from the earth. Their bodies are grassy, held together with thatch and loam. Their mouths gaping maws of rotting bone. These are goblins. Totally not goblins.
Sparx, what's going on?
I don't know. We gotta find Mom and Dad.
Spyro and Sparx charge into the chaos and we move to another part of the glen where two goblins are holding Flash and Luna by the wings. They shake them!
Stop stalling, maggots! We know you're hiding him.
Boss, technically they aren't maggots. See? The maggots are the lover of the stage of...
Shut up! I know what they are.
Goblin 1 slaps Goblin 2, then turns to Flash and Luna.
If you tell us where he is, we'll let you each keep one wing.
The goblins pull at Flash's wings and flick Luna's antenna. Flash and Luna grit their teeth, defiant.
Told you, we don't know anything about any...
Mom! Dad!
Flash and Luna spin to see Spyro and Sparx. The goblins see them too.
There he is, the purple one. Spyro, run! Get out of here!
Before Spyro can react, the goblins are all around him.
Come here, little dragon. You're coming with us.
Okay.
Spyro backs away, scared and confused.
Dragon? What are you talking about? I'm a dragonfly.
The goblins look at each other and explode in disgusting chortles.
Right. And I'm a fair princess.
Goblin 2 lifts his tunic like a tutu and starts prancing around.
Hey, dee, look at me. Aren't I pretty?
The goblins laugh and grin down at Spyro.
Whatever you are, you're coming with us.
The goblins lunge at Spyro again and this time manage to grab him. They drag him over to a small cage and lock him inside.
Yeah, Mom, Dad, what do I do? What should I?
Swat! Goblin 2 suddenly swats Sparx to the ground.
Bitch.
Ow.
That's what.
Thank God.
The goblins all explode into laughter.
Sparx!
Sparx looks up, hurt, powerless to do anything. Spyro pulls at the bars of the cage as the goblins continue to chortle. One of them still holds Sparx and Luna tightly in its grip.
I guess we don't need you two anymore. There's one thing I need. Snack.
The goblin dangles Flash and Luna over his gaping maw and is about to drop them in when...
No!
Whoosh! A flash of orange fire suddenly explodes from Spyro's mouth. It hits the goblins and sets their leafy hides ablaze.
Oh, yeah.
They drop Flash and Luna and hop screeching into the woods, stopping, dropping and rolling along the way. Spyro looks down at himself, confused and shaken, and then looks at his parents.
What am I?
Cut to the Dragonfly Glen later that night. Luna flutters around the village, cleaning up with the other dragonflies. Spyro chases behind, still shaken.
Come on, Mom. I want to know.
I don't know what you're talking about, Spyro. You're my son. You're one of us. Just like we've always.
Spyro jumps in front of her.
Stop it! Just tell me. Tell me what I am.
Luna flutters there, frozen. Flash fries. This is a struggle. Flash flies up and puts his hand on her shoulder.
Luna, it's time for him to know the truth.
Luna nods and looks down. Flash turns to Spyro and takes a deep breath.
It's true, Spyro. You're not the same as we are. You're not a dragonfly. You're a dragon.
Spyro's eyes widen.
A dragon?
Sparx flies up behind him.
Say what?
Sparx looks at them all with his bug eyes, and we dissolve to the cozy dragonfly dwelling. Spyro sits before a flickering campfire. Flash and Luna flutter before him, their faces filled with the truths about to be told.
We were given to us by a dragon from the great dragon temple of the river. We were meant to keep you hidden, but you are hidden no more. Whoever is searching for you will return, and I fear they will not stop until they find you.
Flash looks at Luna, who nods grimly.
Wherever there are dragons, there is war. And now that war has come to us.
Spyro looks at the ones he once knew as his mother and father. He looks over at Sparx, sitting in the back of the room, his mouth agape. Spyro looks down. He's never felt more like an outsider, and his face shows it.
We will leave this place, find a new home for ourselves. We will do what dragonflies do when they are threatened. We will survive by choosing flight.
Flash puts his hand on Spyro's shoulder.
Don't worry. We will do anything to protect you. You are still our son, Spyro.
Luna looks at Flash, touched. He's come round after all. The Dragonfly Glen, Spyro and Sparx's room that night. Spyro and Sparx enter their bedroom, silently, avoiding eye contact. Spyro sits down on his thatch bed and looks at his feet. Sparx flies up behind him. He goes to say something, but stops. For the first time, he doesn't know what to say to his brother. He finally shakes it off.
So, a dragon. Guess that explains something.
Spyro looks away.
Yeah, I guess it does.
Sparx flies around to face him.
What do you think about it? It's pretty cool. I mean, a dragon, like... Makes claws with his hands. Rah!
Sparx gives him a smile.
Hey, I just thought of something. You could be my bodyguard. Now that would be cool.
Spyro doesn't smile back.
Yeah, cool.
Spyro slumps off his bed and picks up a small leaf sack. He opens it up and starts throwing stuff into it. Berries, a blanket, some twine. Sparx looks at him.
Hey, Spyro, what are you doing?
I'm leaving, Sparx.
Leaving? What are you talking about?
Spyro turns to face him.
Sparx, if I stay here, I put everyone in danger. You know what your parents said? Whenever there are dragons, there is a war.
My parents? They're your parents too.
No, not anymore.
Sparx shakes his head, not understanding. Spyro takes a deep breath.
Sparx, I need to do this. I need to find out who I really am.
Spyro turns and goes to throw his leaf pillow into his bag, but Sparx grabs it.
This is silly. Spyro, nothing's changed. We're still brothers. Okay, so you're a dragon, not a dragonfly. What's the difference? 3 letters and a couple of pounds.
Sparx takes the sack and chucks it under Spyro's bed.
Come on. Let's just go to bed. Everything will be okay in the morning. Trust me.
Spyro looks at Sparx and finally gives in.
Okay, you're right. Let's just go to bed. Good night, Sparx.
Spyro hops into bed. Sparx gives him a smile.
Good night, bodyguard. Rah!
Sparx laughs. Spyro does too. But we can see he doesn't mean it. Later, Sparx is asleep in his bed, gently talking in his sleep.
No, Glimmer, my name is Sparx, not blah.
We pan over to see Spyro also asleep. Or maybe not. His eyes suddenly open. He quietly gets up, retrieves his sack from under the bed, and tiptoes to the door. Before he leaves, he turns and gives his dragonfly brother one last look.
Oh, hey, if you remember my bodyguard?
Spyro sighs and tiptoes out. Spyro appears at the door and peeks in at Flash and Luna, asleep in a hammock. He gazes at them, and then drops his head and tiptoes into the darkness. Spyro walks through his village, sack slung over his shoulders, giving the glen he's called his home one last glance. He looks at the little dwellings and the tiny campfire pits, and then he walks off into the night. Spyro makes his way down a dark path. Moonlight barely penetrates the thick canopy of trees with branches that reach out at him like claws. Mysterious noises echo all around him, and strange shadows cross his path. Spyro looks around, afraid. Are those figures in the bushes, or is it just his imagination? Spyro shivers and pushes on. But then, what's that? He spins towards a rustling in the bushes. Or that! He spins again and starts walking backwards, crouching, trying to make himself smaller. The sounds of the forest seem to multiply, amplify, and it's too much for him. He turns and runs. Spyro runs through the thick forest, branches tearing at him, bushes tripping him, until he gets to a clearing. Where is he? He looks around, lost and scared, confused. He tries to get his bearings, but he doesn't know where to turn. He looks down. Guess he could camp here. Spyro drops some sticks into a small pile of leaves. He picks 2 of them, kneels down and tries Is he fucking bipedal? Like, reading this, it sounds like he's bipedal. This is really weird. He picks 2 of them up, kneels down and tries rubbing them together. Nothing happens. He rubs harder. They don't even smoke. He looks at the leaves and gets an idea. He stands up and looks around. Yeah, why not? He takes a deep breath, leans over the leaves, and breathes. Nothing. He shakes his head. Why can't he do it again? Maybe he's got to breathe harder. He takes a few steps back, gets a running start, and breathes. Still nothing. He sits back down in front of the pile of leaves and sighs. He pulls his blanket out of his sack, pulls it over his little wings, and shakes his head.
Some dragon I am.
Spyro shivers, clutching the blanket tighter, and tries to block out the scary sounds that surround him. We cut to the mountain of Malefor, room of shadows. The red gem glows, casting the shadow of a young dragon on the wall. Beside it, the red eyes of the Dark Master gleam from the darkness.
Be still, my pet.
Pox swings into view, again hanging upside down from the ceiling.
Hey, I thought I was your pet. I mean, who found that pesky purple pest for you?
The Dark Master growls. Pox gulps.
Oh, sorry. I'll be quiet.
Pox clams up and watches as whoosh, fire suddenly shoots out of the darkness and strikes the gem. The flames swirl and dance inside, illuminating an eddy of what appears to be a host of ghostly dragons within. And then crack! The fire shoots back out of the gem and connects with the shadow of the young dragon, as if completing a circuit. The shadow shudders.
Yes, embrace the darkness. Give in to it. Let it fill you up.
The shadow of the dragon steadies itself, twitches, and then starts to grow before our eyes.
Yes! Let it take away all your fear. Let it grow within you and give spark to your darkest powers.
The shadow grows even bigger when, from off-screen,
Hey, my lord, we found it.
the gem dims, the shadow of the young dragon fades, and the red eyes turn to see goblins 1 and 2 entering.
It was right here where the little bit said it was.
Pox nods proudly. The red eyes turn on the goblins.
Then why is it not before me?
The goblins gulp.
Well, we certainly didn't want to disappoint your greatness, the Dark Master. But
It brews fire.
The red eyes narrow.
Fire! You think that was fire? Oh, foolish goblins. How surprised you'll be when you feel the fury of true dragon fire!
The red eyes flash. The goblins wince and look at each other.
Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
yep, we're toast.
The goblins close their eyes and brace themselves. But nothing happens. Goblin 2 opens one of his eyes and looks around.
Oh, we're not toast.
The red eyes dim.
You have failed me. Make no mistake of that. But your folly may prove valuable after all.
The goblins relax. Pox frowns.
Oh, come on. At least charbo one of them.
The Dragon of Prophecy will not stay in hiding any longer. Oh no. He will itch with questions, and there's only one place he can go for answers.
Oh, I know. The Dragon Temple.
The goblins step up.
We will wait for him there and grab him when he...
No! You will not return here and inform me of his arrival. By then, my pet will be ready.
The red gem suddenly glows again, illuminating the shadow of the young dragon. It stumbles forward and steps into the light. It's black, glistening, and awkward on its feet. And there's something feminine about it. Why is that line fucking necessary?
I've created my waifu!
It snarls like a rabid dog.
Whoa, glad she's an our side.
The goblins stand there staring at the monstrosity when...
No! Go! Do not feel me again.
The black dragon suddenly opens its mouth and fills the room with black fire. The goblins turn and run. The Dark Master chuckles.
Yes, you will do nicely.
A claw extends out of the darkness and pets the black dragon's back.
I shall name you after fire's last gasp. I shall name you Cynder.
Pox's eyes widen in delight.
Oh, Cynder! Brilliant! It works so on many levels. I guess that's why they call you the Master.
The black dragon Cynder lets out a monstrous roar, and we cut to the dark forest, early morning. Spyro wakes with a start.
What? Where am I?
Spyro looks around and then remembers.
Oh, right. Still here. Still alone.
He gets up and stretches. He looks at the rising sun and his face brightens a bit. Maybe this isn't so bad after all. He picks up his sack and...
Okay, let's see what's on the menu for breakfast today. Maybe some sugar root, a couple of pollen cakes, or
He reaches into his sack, but...
Huh?
He digs around inside and then turns it upside down. Empty?
Where's all the stuff I packed?
Then he sees them. Little white spiders walking in a row, carrying his food away.
Hey, get back here!
The spiders walk faster, squealing and squeaking as they go. Spyro gets up and chases them through the clearing towards a dark cave. The little white spiders disappear inside. Spyro stops. It's really dark in there. His stomach grumbles. He takes a deep breath, steels himself, and enters the cave. The interior, dark cave. Spyro looks around, squinting into the darkness.
Hello? Little spider thingies? I'd really appreciate it if you gave my breakfast back. I'd be willing to share.
He blinks his eyes and they finally adjust to see the little white spiders crawling towards a huge white spider hanging from a web. It's gotta be twice Spyro's size. Ah! Spyro turns to run off but runs right into another web. He's stuck.
What? Ah!
Spyro frantically tries to free himself as the large white spider drops off his web and crawls towards him. It gets right in his face and...
Oh, a dragon! I caught a dragon! Mom and Daddy, I caught a dragon!
Spyro's eyes widen in fear as two even bigger spiders crawl in.
A dragon? Oh, honey, I'm so proud of you.
Dragon? Let me see that.
The dad squints at Spyro.
Well, slap some wings on me and call me a butterfly. It is a dragon. Good work, son.
Can I eat now, Mommy? Huh? Can I, please?
You already had your breakfast. Wrap it up and I'll make dragon burgers for lunch.
The tiny spiders cheer from the ground.
Dragon burgers? Wait, come on, look at me. There's not enough meat on me for dragon burgers.
The white spider picks Spyro up, holds him to its mandibles, and starts spinning him round and round, cocooning him in a gooey web.
No, stop! Stop!
Spyro's face is suddenly lost in the cocoon, cutting off his breath. He struggles for air as the rest of his head disappears under the web. And then, the cocoon is complete. The white spider turns and starts carrying off down a dark cavern when a torch appears, held by a cloaked figure.
Get back, beasts.
The figure waves the torch at the giant spiders, making them shriek and recoil.
Ah, my eyes!
Oi, what are you trying to do? Blind us?
The cloaked figure leaps in front of the white spider, waving the torch in its face. It recoils and drops the cocoon.
Mommy!
The figure suddenly pulls out a sword and slices the cocoon open. Spyro slides out, covered in glistening goo and barely conscious.
Come, little one.
The cloaked figure drags Spyro out of the cave. The little spiders start to cry like babies, and the mother and father spiders charge after him, chomping their mandibles and shooting webs at him. The figure suddenly spins around, raises a bow, and shoots an arrow at the ceiling of the cave. Crack! An avalanche of rubble breaks loose, trapping the spiders inside. The figure drags Spyro out of the cave and puts him down. Spyro limply scrambles to his feet, wiping the goo out of his eyes and backing away.
Who are you?
The figure lowers its cloak to reveal the proud face of a cheetah warrior. He smiles at Spyro with kind eyes.
I am Hunter of the Cheetahs. It is an honor to meet you, great dragon of prophecy.
Hunter dramatically drops to one knee and bows.
Great dragon of what?
Hunter stands up and looks at Spyro.
Great dragon of prophecy.
Hunter dramatically drops to one knee and bows again. Spyro blinks at him.
I'm sorry, I don't know what that is.
Hunter looks up at him.
What? Is it possible you do not know? Has no one told you who you are?
Who I am? I barely know what I am.
Hunter shakes his head and stands up.
Amazing. Someone whose destiny is so full of light is still so in the dark. Gosh, simpleton.
My destiny? Please tell me what you know about me. Why did you call me a dragon of prophecy?
Hunter dramatically drops to one knee and bows again. Spyro looks at him.
Why do you keep doing that?
Hunter stands back up.
I'm sorry. It is a custom of my people. A sign of respect when those words are spoken.
What words? Dragon of prophecy?
Hunter dramatically drops to one knee and bows again.
You don't have to keep doing that. Can you just tell me what you know about me?
Hunter stands back up.
I'm sorry, but I'm afraid that it is not my story to tell, little one. But I can tell you this. I have been searching these lands for you for a very long time. All the creatures have. Cheetahs, mole people,
Mole people?
He gives Spyro a warm smile.
our allies underground. Rarely seen, always there.
Spyro looks down, amazed, as if he's expecting something to pop out of the ground at any moment.
It will be a great comfort to everyone to know that you are still alive, great dragon of...
Hunter goes to drop to one knee again, but...
Okay, please, you don't have to keep doing that.
Hunter stands back up.
Sorry, old habits. We must get you to the temple of your ancestors. Only hope that we are not too late.
Hunter puts his cloak back over his head and disappears into the woods. Spyro hesitates, still trying to process everything he's heard. Then turns and follows. Dissolved to a blasted landscape afternoon. The terrain is beginning to change. Lots of charred trees and burnt brush. The ground is darker too, as if the dirt has been mixed with ash. Hunter emerges from the trees. Spyro follows behind, his eyes wide.
What happened here, Hunter?
These are dark times, little one. Land and its creatures have suffered much.
But why? Who did all this?
Hunter takes a deep breath.
The one you have been hidden from. Evil one. One they call...
Suddenly, there's a rustling in the bushes. Hunter steps in front of Spyro, his bow suddenly in hand.
What is it?
Hunter raises his hand to silence him. The rustling happens again.
Stay here.
Hunter puts an arrow in his bow and starts moving towards the bushes. Spyro holds his breath as Hunter steps closer and closer and... A ball of light suddenly bursts out of the bushes. Is that...
Sparx?
Spyro! Finally, I've been...
Swat! Hunter suddenly swats Sparx out of the air.
No!
Dead.
Sparx slams onto the ground.
Hey, come on! What's the big... Ah!
Hunter raises a foot and is about to step on him when...
Hunter, no! He's my brother!
Hunter freezes.
Your brother?
Hunter looks at Sparx, confused. Sparx shrugs and dusts himself off.
Well, brother from another mother.
I hate this. He flies back into the air and gives Hunter a look.
So, who's the furball?
Hunter narrows his eyes, insulted.
It's okay, Sparx. He's a friend.
A friend, huh? Didn't
He
know
flies.
you could make those.
He flies right up to Hunter's face.
Well, listen up, friend. You swap me like that again and I'll pull your whiskers right off. Got it, meow mix?
Hunter glares at Sparx and re-quivers his arrow. Spyro looks at Sparx and smiles.
Sparx, you came after me.
Sparx smiles again.
Heh, we are brothers, Spyro. No matter who our parents are. That's actually preached. And that means you go on a dangerous journey, I go on a dangerous journey. Got it?
Based Sparx. Spyro grabs Sparx and gives him a hug.
Thanks, Sparx.
Sparx squirms out of his grip and straightens his antenna.
Hey, watch the antenna. You never know what kind of hot bugs we'll run into out here.
Spyro laughs.
Yeah, I'd like you'd be able to talk to them if we did. The most you've ever gotten out, and I quote, is...
Spyro makes the deer in the headlights face Sparx made when he saw Glimmer.
Blah!
Sparx frowns.
Yeah, I'll give you blah.
He rushes at Spyro, but Hunter steps in front of him and Sparx bounces off his chest. Bonk.
Bonk. Hey!
If we want to get to the temple before dark, we must make haste.
Hunter turns and heads off. Spyro looks at Sparx.
I'm really glad you came.
Yeah, don't get all weepy on me.
Spyro chuckles and they follow Hunter off.
So, what's the deal with this guy? I don't like cats. You never see them clean themselves? They use their tongues, disgusting.
Fucking hate this script.
Shut
Don't
up.
worry, Sparx. He was sent to find me. Protect me.
You? Come on.
No, really. Watch. I am the great dragon of the prophecy.
Hunter immediately turns, drops to one knee and bows. Sparx looks at Spyro in awe.
What the fuck?
Hunter, realizing he's being messed with, gives them a look.
I shall not fall for that one again.
Dissolved to the blasted landscape later that day. As the sun sets behind them, Spyro and Sparx follow Hunter through the blackened, scarred terrain.
Mom and Dad will be fine. I left them a note.
Sparx blinks.
Actually, wait a minute. I meant to leave them a note. Shrug. They'll be fine anyway.
Spyro rolls his eyes. Sparx looks around at the bleak landscape.
Boy, this place should... I hate this character, man. He's so much more insufferable in this movie.
I know.
Boy, this place sure could use a makeover, huh? Maybe a couple bushes here, one over there.
Quiet, Glowbug.
Glowbug? Who you calling Glowbug, Burface?
We are here.
Hunter points to the dragon temple looming in the distance. It is an ominous sight. Spyro gazes at it, his eyes wide.
That's where I came from?
It's larger, more majestic than anything he's ever seen. Spyro stares at it, not sure how to feel, when Hunter begins to ascend a steep staircase carved into the rock. Dissolved to the dragon temple, Hunter and Spyro emerge at the top of the staircase, close to the temple's stone entryway. From this close, it looks decrepit, falling apart like it's been abandoned for years. Sparx flies up behind them.
Yeah, no offense, but your home is kind of a dump.
Spyro gives Sparx a look. Sparx shrugs.
I said no offense.
Spyro turns back to the temple and follows Hunter through a gap in the stone doors. The walls are cracked, the ceiling is caved in, and the floors are covered with debris. A few beams of sunlight stream in through the cracks, but otherwise it's dark. Spyro and Hunter enter, stepping through the rubble. Sparx flies beside them.
It doesn't look like anyone's been here for years.
We may be too late after all.
Hunter shakes his head when...
Hey look! Dragon graffiti!
Sparx flies up to the wall, lighting it with his glow to reveal carvings in the stone. It's an ancient fresco telling the tale of dragons.
Wow, these are your ancestors. You are really due for a growth spurt.
Spyro gazes up at the carvings. He sees noble dragons, proud dragons, strong dragons, all three types of dragons. They seem to stare back at him.
Ah, yes, the three genders.
They seem to stare back at him, stare into him, invoking feelings he's never felt before. Is this really what he is? What he's going to become? Spyro runs his fingers over the carvings. He is my beetle!
His fingers!
What the fuck?
I hate this!
No. Can we cancel this now? Can we just
Oh
stop
my
recording
God.
now?
Oh, fuck.
I don't want to,
I hate this. Spyro runs his fingers over the carvings and then sees something at the end of the room. It looks like a nest of thatch lying in the rubble of a stone pedestal. Spyro approaches it and picks it up. It's just big enough for an egg. Could it be? Suddenly, a booming voice shakes the room.
Who dares invade the sacred temple of the dragons?
Spyro drops the nest and spins to face Sparx.
What was that?
I don't know. But I don't want to find out. Let's get out of here.
They turn and charge for the door.
No, wait.
Suddenly, an enormous red dragon drops in front of them.
Hello there.
Spyro and Sparx dart around him and run out. The red dragon freezes, realizing something, and we see it's Ignitus. He looks much weaker than when we last saw him. He sees Hunter, and it suddenly dawns on him. He turns and starts after Spyro and Sparx.
Wait, come back.
Ignitus flies out after them. Hunter follows. Exterior Dragon Temple staircase. Spyro tears down the stone staircase as fast as he can. Sparx flies behind, trying to push him.
Faster, faster! Oh, we're so stupid. What did we expect to find at a Dragon Temple?
Suddenly, Ignitus flies into view beside them.
Stop, please. I mean you no harm.
But Spyro and Sparx just keep charging down the steps.
Yeah, right. Big Scary Dragon scares you once, shame on him. Big Scary Dragon scares you twice, you're barbecue. Come on, Spyro, he's getting closer.
Spyro and Sparx hit the bottom of the steps and take off into the bushes. Ignitus keeps after them. Spyro and Sparx charge through the ruins surrounding the temple. They tear through bushes, duck under low branches, and dart around sharp rocks. Ignitus chases behind them.
You must listen to me.
Benny Hill music starts playing.
Spyro and Sparx look back. He's getting closer! Sparx grits his teeth and flutters over Spyro's back.
Come on, Spyro, and flap what your mama gave you.
He grabs Spyro's wings and starts flapping them, but no dice. And then...
Look out!
Spyro looks and slip! He skids over a bed of loose rocks and...
Whoa!
Tumbles down a steep hill! Sparx tumbles with him and they both slide down, Sparx holding onto Spyro's wings for dear life and riding him like a toboggan. Oh no! Whoosh! They slide faster and faster, Sparx doing his best to steer Spyro around rocks and trees when crunch! They crash into a tree stump.
Ow! I think I landed on my wings.
Sparx flutters into the air and dusts himself off. Spyro pulls himself to his feet and looks around.
Do you think we lost him?
Ignitus suddenly drops out of the sky in front of them.
Yeah!
Sparx jumps up.
Let's get out of here!
Spyro leaps to his feet and they turn to flee when Hunter suddenly appears in front of them.
Stop! He's not going to hurt you! He's the one who sent me to find you!
Spyro and Sparx freeze.
What?
Ignitus looks down at Spyro and smiles.
Welcome home, little one. Come, there is much to do.
Whoosh! He blasts a thicket of trees with his fiery breath, and a path back to the temple is revealed. Ignitus starts up it. Spyro goes to follow, but Sparx flies in front of him.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! Are you crazy? You really want to go with this guy?
Sparx, I think I should trust him. He's a dragon, like me.
Spyro starts after Ignitus. Sparx frowns and flutters after him, shaking his head.
Well, why couldn't you have found out he was an elf? They're supposed to be really mellow guys.
Do elves exist in this world?
I don't know what the fucking spotlight's supposed to mean.
They all head up the path when Hunter stops, sensing something. He turns and scans the ruins, but all is quiet. He shakes his head and follows the others up the path. Right as he goes, the bushes part behind him, revealing Goblin 1 and Goblin 2. They smile at each other and run off, dissolve to the Dragon Temple. Two massive stone doors creak open and long shadows of Ignitus, Spyro and Sparx and Hunter are cast on the floor. They make their way through the temple, their footsteps echoing off the walls. Ignitus casts a glance down at Spyro and smiles.
I must say, you're a welcome sight for this town, old eyes. I thought that you were lost for good.
Spyro looks up at him.
Who are you? How do you know me?
I am Ignitus, the last of the guardian dragons. At one time, I cared for you, and you were just an egg.
Spyro looks up at Ignitus in awe. Sparx flutters up.
You have some kind of identification.
Sparx.
No, really, come on! Spyro, how do we know this guy is who he says he is?
Ignitus smiles at them.
I see you have a good friend here. Oh, but I assure you, little dragonfly, I can be trusted. But I am the one who brought your brother to your peaceful glen.
You fucking
Spyro and
lied to me.
Sparx look at each other.
I returned when I thought it was safe, but the dragonflies were gone. Dragonflies are like that. They... I don't know why I'm trying that in.
Everyone's so racist in this.
I mean, this is 2008.
Spyro,
Yeah.
I'm a boomer, you see. I returned when I thought it was safe, but the dragonflies were gone. Dragonflies are like that. They live the way they fly, quick, elusive, and so very cautious. Which is why finding them that night was so fortunate.
Sparx narrows his eyes, not yet convinced. Ignitus smiles at Spyro.
So, Spyro, is it? Very good. Come, there is much to explain.
Ignitus goes to lead them down a corridor. Spyro and Sparx follow him. Hunter stays by the door, peering outside.
What is it?
Just a feeling. Go, Ignitus. I will stay here and keep watch.
Thank you, Hunter, for everything. Know that the dragons are forever in your debt.
Hunter nods to Ignitus and bows slightly to Spyro. Sparx gives him a look.
And know that the dragonflies are forever wondering why you don't have a sense of humor.
Hunter does a slow boil. Spyro gives Sparx a look.
Hey, come on! The cat's gotta line up!
Interior, Dragon Temple, Room of the Elders. Ignitus leads Spyro and Sparx into a sacred room in the center of the temple. Its rounded walls are covered with even more frescoes.
This is where the elders recorded the history of dragonkind. A history in which you, young Spyro, play a very important part.
Spyro's eyes widen. Sparx flies up close to one of the frescoes.
Ah, look at that! So much detail! Is that watercolor or...?
Sparx goes to touch the fresco, but...
Freeze!
Sparx freezes in midair before the fresco.
I'm sorry, but I must insist that you be careful. These walls have withstood great battles, but I'm afraid time has begun to take its toll.
Okay, jeez. Give me a little credit. It's not like I was gonna break it or anything.
Ignitus gives him a look and turns to a torch. He lights it with his fiery breath and steps up to the first panel. Angle on the panel. It's a beautiful painting of a pleasant landscape. A bright sun hangs over the rolling hills. Dragons fill the sky.
Like our dragonfly friends, we are peaceful creatures at heart.
We move into the panel and it comes to life to tell the story of the dragons. Dragons fly gracefully through the sky, the tips of their wings touching the clouds.
That is, before the rise of the dragon they call the Dark Master.
Fire fills the sky. Dragons fall. We hear a mighty roar and see two red eyes shine out of the dark clouds.
From the beginning, his powers were unmatched. He could have been one of the greatest defenders of the land, but he chose a difficult path. Drawn to evil and destruction, he used his powers to wage war on all of dragonkind.
The skies darken, and we move down to see dragons fleeing across the landscape. Blasts of fire explode behind them, charring the earth.
As his powers grew, he discovered new ways to spread his terror. He began to amass a dark army, pulled from the deepest depths of the earth.
The ground starts to crack and crumble, and monstrous beasts emerge from the dirt. Some look like the goblins, others are more twisted, winged like the elemental beasts that attack the temple. They stumble like zombies towards a dark mountain in the distance.
But the dark times were only the beginning, for the Dark Master was about to make a terrible discovery. He learned of the existence of a powerful crystal called the Life Gem, that was said to be the source of all dragon magic.
A red glow fills the screen and then focuses to reveal the large red gem we saw earlier.
He realized that if he possessed this gem, he could make himself even more powerful by capturing the essences of all the dragons he slaughtered and storing them inside the crimson crystal.
Isn't that just a health gem?
Yeah.
Wasn't it just called the Life Gem?
I like how this is also the plot of the Dark Crystal as well. We push into the crystal to see the eddy of ghostly dragons swirling within. There must be hundreds of them. Thousands.
Every dragon that fell added to his might. His powers grew and grew until his darkness began to spread across all the lands.
We see the landscape going from green to black, trees withering, lush fields drying up into deserts. Dragons flee across the landscape. The shadow of an enormous dragon falls on them, and then, blast! Fire rains down on them and fills the screen.
It was a time of great danger for...
Crack! Suddenly the image starts to crumble and we cut back to the Dragon Temple, where the entire wall of frescoes drops into a pile of rubble. Ignitus and Spyro spin to see Sparx, frozen with a little piece of rubble in his hand.
Whoops.
Ignitus shakes his head.
Don't worry, I can fix it. You got any glue?
Ignitus does a slow burn. Spyro steps up with a confused expression.
Ignitus, I don't understand. What does all this have to do with me?
You, young Spyro, are the light in the darkness. In the year of the dragon, it was prophesied that a dragon would be born that would rise up and defeat the Dark Master. A purple dragon possessing untold powers.
Ignitus looks down at Spyro.
You, young Spyro, are that purple dragon.
Spyro looks up at Ignitus with wide eyes. Sparx bursts into hysterics.
Him? You gotta be kidding me! He's scared of his own shadow! And I'll tell you a little secret. He can't fly 2 feet off the ground without falling off his butt.
Ignitus turns to Sparx.
Until 2 moons ago, you thought he was a dragonfly. Imagine how he might surprise you tomorrow.
Sparx stops laughing. Ignitus turns back to Spyro.
We must begin at once.
Ignitus turns and marches out of the room, leaving Sparx and Spyro standing there in shocked silence. Ignitus hurries down a crumbling hallway, lighting torches as he goes. Spyro chases behind.
Wait. Begin what, Ignitus?
Your training. You have much to learn and very little time.
Hold on. Sparx is right. I can't be the one the elders were talking about. I can't be this dragon of prophecy.
Ignitus stops and turns to him.
There is no question.
Ignitus continues down the hall, lighting torches. Spyro runs after him.
Wait, why can't you go and fight the Dark Master yourself? You're so much bigger and stronger than I'll ever be.
It is said that the only dragon of prophecy can defeat the Dark Master.
Ignitus looks down at him.
Oh.
Whoa!
Well, don't let my shite deceive you.
This is why I'm trying to destroy the dragons! They're all perfect!
I don't like that phrasing.
Don't let my size deceive you.
He stops and spreads his wings. They are thinning.
My fire is nearly burned out. This is your task, young Spyro. Your destiny. You are a very special dragon.
Ignitus gives Spyro a smile and continues down the hallway. Spyro watches him for a moment, conflicted. Then...
I'm sorry, Ignitus. I can't do this.
Ignitus stops.
I just wanted to find out who I was. What I was. What you're asking, it's just too much.
I understand. Everyone must choose their own path. But before you go, I want to show you something.
Ignitus turns to 2 stone doors. He pushes them open, revealing a dark, charred valley that gives way to a desert of soot. There's a line of smoke in the distance, as if from a fire that's constantly burning.
With each passing moon, the desolation spreads further across the lands. And this is only the beginning.
Spyro gazes out at the distant smoke. Sparx flies up.
Okay, well, like Spyro said, this has been great. It's so nice meeting family you never knew you had. Thanks for the story. We'll just let ourselves out, okay?
Sparx goes to fly off. Spyro doesn't move.
Spyro? Come on. Remember what they said in class? It's, fight or flight? I'd say this is a prime example of when you should choose flight.
Sparx, look.
Spyro points to the end of the line of smoke.
Yeah, what is it?
I think that's the Glen.
The Glen?
Spyro nods. Sparx squints, and then his eyes widen. The line of smoke is not far from the Silver River. Sparx blanches. Spyro turns to Ignitus.
This really isn't going to end?
Ignitus shakes his head.
And you're sure I'm the only one who can stop it?
Mm-hmm.
Ignitus nods. Spyro looks out at the dark landscape and seems to steel himself.
Then I at least have to try.
Sparx's eyes widen.
What? Spyro, are you out of your blue purple mind?
Sparx, dragonflies choose flight. But I'm a dragon. It's not that simple anymore.
Ignitus gives Spyro a look of pride and descends a stone staircase at the end of the hallway. Sparx rolls his eyes.
Sheesh. Tell the guy he's a dragon and he goes straight to his head.
Sparx shakes his head and flies after them. Dissolved to the Dragon Temple training arena. The room is pitch black until, whoosh! A burst of fire ignites the cluster of torches dangling from the ceiling like a chandelier. Spyro and Sparx look around in awe.
Whoa!
It's like a dojo for dragons. Charred targets hang from the ceiling. The walls are studded with ivory perches. Wooden training statues are scattered throughout in the shape of goblins, elemental beasts, and all sorts of wicked creatures. And floating in the air is a row of crystal orbs, dozens of them, each containing a different element. Fire, water, lightning, wind, and more.
For centuries, dragons have mastered their powers in this very room. I myself found my fire here.
Spyro notices the floating orbs.
What are those, Ignitus?
Those are my balls. Those are the dragon magics. Each dragon possesses a magic unique to themselves. I was blessed with fire. Others are masters of ice, wind, lightning. There are so many.
So, I guess I'm like you? My magic is fire?
Well, yes, but actually no. You see, the dragon prophecy is said to be an exception, Spyro. you, young Spyro, possess the potential for all the dragon magics.
All of them? But I've only done fire once, and that was an accident. Now I have to learn ice and wind?
Sparx flies up.
Ah, you've already got wind down. You messed with that one the first time you ate bug beans, remember? You blew me right out of the room.
Spyro stands there, shaking his head. Ignitus puts his hand on his shoulder.
Hand?
Yeah, they're bipedal now.
They're bipedal.
It's like that gif of the deer taking off its hoof gloves and then doing that.
Do not worry, young Spyro. Mastery will come with time.
Dissolve to training montage!
I have the
Spyro
tiger
and
starts
Ignitus
playing.
stand under the floating orb filled with fire. Sparx flutters beside them.
Fire, the most elemental of all the dragon magics. I want you to focus on the flames and then close your eyes.
Spyro stares intently at the flames within the orb and then closes his eyes.
Do you still see them in your mind?
I think so.
Good. Now I want you to try and feel something.
I have to say that again.
Quick,
because
let me call my good friend Chris Hansen.
Good. Now I want you to feel something. Feel the blood of your ancestors coursing through your veins. As the dragon of prophecy, every dragon that came before you is a part of who you are, young Spyro. You must listen to them. Let them show you the way.
Motherfucker!
Spyro concentrates harder, trying to feel it. Ignitus takes him by the shoulders and turns him towards a goblin training statue.
Reach out for the fire that so many of them possessed. Feel the flames, tap into them, and then bring them forth.
Spyro clenches, inhales, and...
Roar.
Poof!
Roar.
A small puff of smoke drifts out of his mouth. Spyro blinks at it. Sparx breaks into hysterics.
They said listen to your ancestors! Spyro done send them smoke signals!
Spyro sags, and we cut to another part of the dojo. Spyro stands on an ivory perch high up on the wall. Ignitus and Sparx flutter before him in the air.
Flying. No matter what you've experienced, you can fly, Spyro. It is your mind, not your body, that is holding you back.
Ah, you sure about that, big rat? Cause his wings are puny and his bunda's pretty huge.
Spyro looks over the edge of the perch, scared.
Now, put your fears aside and trust in what you are.
Alright, here it goes.
Spyro flaps his wings, jumps off the perch, and flutters there in the air.
Hey, look, I'm doing it. I'm doing it.
But then, crash! He drops out of frame. Sparx gives Ignitus a look.
Hey, you sure you're certified for this?
Cut to another part of the dojo. Spyro and Ignitus stand under the floating orb filled with ice. Sparx flutters behind them.
Close your eyes, and this time, let in the code.
Ah, nanny. Fun giant bars like bar of making delicious sandwiches.
Ignoring Sparx, Spyro closes his eyes and concentrates. He suddenly shivers.
Oh, I can feel it. I feel cold.
Ignitus takes Spyro by the shoulders and turns him towards an elemental beast training statue.
Let it consume you. Reach into the deepest depths of the ice and bring it forth.
Spyro clenches, inhales, and...
Roar.
Dink! A small ice cube drops out of his mouth. Sparx breaks into hysterics.
Yeah! Now I can make iced tea!
Sparx laughs so hard he almost shakes himself off the perch. Spyro gives Sparx a look, and then suddenly winces.
Ow! 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 Brain freeze! Brain freeze!
Spyro grabs his head and runs out of frame. Cut to another part of the dojo. Spyro stands on another ivory perch. Ignitus and Sparx flutter before him.
Do not think, Spyro. Just fly. Fly! Fucking fly. It's not fucking even hard, is it?
Spyro jumps off the perch, flutters in the air for a moment, and then drops out of frame again. Crash! Exactly the same scene as earlier. This was necessary. Cut to another part of the dojo. Ignitus and Spyro now stand under the floating orb filled with lightning.
They say lightning is the most chaotic of all the magics, but also the most powerful.
Spyro looks up at the orb.
You tap into the intangible, young Spyro, into the power of nature's fury.
Spyro closes his eyes and really concentrates.
I I can feel it. I can feel it. I can... Roar.
Spyro spins to face a target on the wall, opens his mouth and... pop! A tiny spark crackles on his tongue.
I don't want to make this hot joke.
This is
2009 children's movie.
We've had like 7.
Hey, got a lightning? I generate will current when I fact!
Please laugh, children.
Sparx explodes into hysterics. Spyro spins to face him.
You know what, Sparx? Why don't you just shut up?
Buzz, buzz. A bolt of lightning suddenly explodes out of Spyro's mouth and hits Sparx.
Yes!
Fucking dies.
You've done it!
Sparx's
You've killed him!
dragonfly glow flickers and then blinks off.
Hey! Hey, what did you do?
Spyro's eyes widen.
Ignitus! I did it! I did it!
Good, Spyro, good. Now, quickly, from that same place, bring it out.
Cut to another part of the dojo. Spyro and Ignitus stand before a row of training dummies.
You're fire.
Spyro closes his eyes, inhales and...
Roar.
Crackle! A small flame shoots out of his mouth, singeing the head of the wooden goblin.
Excellent. Now the ice.
Cut to another part of the dojo. Spyro stands before another statue and whoosh! A tiny stream of ice shoots out of his mouth, coating the statue in ice.
Yes, that's it. Now.
Cut to another part of the dojo. Spyro again stands on an ivory perch. Ignitus flaps in front of him.
Fly, Spyro. Fly. Fly, you fool.
Spyro flaps his wings, leaps off the perch and... drops out of frame with a crash. Ignitus winces.
Perhaps that's enough for today.
Ignitus flies out of frame, revealing Sparx fluttering there, his light still out.
Hey, is someone gonna... What the fuck is that supposed to mean?
Turn him on, Spyro.
Fuck this script, man. And someone gonna down me back on or what? Come on, this isn't funny.
Sparx flies out of frame, and we move towards a crack in the wall, beyond which
God,
we
a
can
crack.
see the darkening night. Dissolve to the Mountain of Malefor, Room of Shadows. The black dragon Cynder kneels in the center of the room. She is much larger now, strong and monstrous. The red eyes of the Dark Master gleam in the darkness before her.
It's time for you to spread your wings, my pet. Go to the temple and end this foolishness once and for all. Then you and I will rule these dark lands together!
Pox swings down from his perch.
You and her? What about me? What about us?
The Dark Master growls. Pox cowers.
Oh, okay. Sure, we'll all be one big happy family. I'm cool with that.
Cynder bows before the red eyes of the Dark Master.
I will not fail you, my master.
Cynder rises to her feet, extends her black wings, and flaps out of the room. Pox watches her go and sighs.
Boy, I wish I was bigger.
So do I, Pox. So do I.
So that I could take Malefor's Malefussy.
Fucking, he wants Malefor's Malefussy. Dissolve 2. The Dragon Temple morning. The sun rises over the ancient temple of the dragons. Ignitus, Spyro, and Sparx sit on the floor, munching on a meal of twigs and berries. Hunter stands by the door, still peering out at the scarred countryside.
I don't know, Ignitus. So I can freeze a statue and turn a dragonfly's lights out. You really think that's gonna be enough to defeat the biggest, meanest dragon of all time?
Everything has a beginning, young Spyro. The important thing is for you to believe. Truly believe what you are. Only then will you fully tap into the power of your ancestors.
Spyro takes this in and nods. Sparx pops a twig in his mouth and grimaces.
Hey, Big Rat, ask you a really important question.
Of course.
You got any weed? You got any salt?
Ignitus gives Sparx a look.
Okay, whatever. I just thought I'd ask.
Spyro pops another twig in his mouth and forces it down. Ignitus turns to Hunter by the door.
Hunter, you have been on alert all night. Come, have something to eat. We are safe here.
I just cannot shake this feeling, Ignitus.
Hunter scans the countryside one more time, and then sits down next to Sparx. He picks up a small bowl of milk and begins to lap at it like a cat.
Are you fucking serious?
Milk giving worms.
That's the only good part in the whole script.
See? I told ya. Disgusting.
Spyro smiles when, boom! The room suddenly shakes.
Yeah! What was that?
Ignitus and Hunter leap to their feet when, boom! The room shakes again and the wall behind them starts to crumble.
Ignitus, what's happening?
Crash! A battering ram suddenly bursts through the wall and an army of goblins charges in with axes and clubs.
Remember I told you we'd be safe? I lied.
Hunter, you had one job.
Spyro, get back!
Spyro jumps back and Ignitus swings his tail, sweeping the first line of goblins right back through the wall. But a whole new line instantly takes their place.
Shit! Hunter, we must get Spyro to safety.
And Sparx too!
Not you. Stay behind me, both of you.
Whoosh! Ignitus blasts the goblins with a burst of fire and charges for the door. Hunter, Spyro, and Sparx follow, but a group of goblins leap in front of them.
This doesn't look like safety to me!
Hunter pulls out his sword and goes to work.
A sword?
He fights the goblins back, lopping off the tops of their clubs and shattering their axes. But more keeps coming. A few leap onto Ignitus's back. Ignitus twists and thrashes, trying to shake them off.
Off, demons!
He somersaults forwards, launching them onto the wall. Bonk, bonk! Then something catches his eye and...
Spyro! Duck!
Spyro ducks, and whoosh! Ignitus releases a torrent of fire over his head. A cluster of goblins behind Spyro go screaming out of the room, their butts on fire. Spyro pulls himself to his feet and sees dozens and dozens more goblins swarming into the room.
They're everywhere.
A pack of them suddenly jump onto Ignitus's neck. He wrestles with them when...
Ignitus, look out!
A goblin is at Ignitus's tail, raising an axe. Spyro suddenly charges and...
Rawr.
He shoots a small stream of fire at the goblin, setting his hide on fire. The goblin shrieks and runs off.
Hey, look at that! Score one for the grape juice!
Good, Spyro.
Grape juice!
Behind you!
Spyro turns, and 3 more goblins are charging towards him, their clubs raised. Spyro takes a deep breath and, tink 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 tink, shoots a barrage of ice cubes at them.
Pew, 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 pew.
Ow, 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 ow!
The goblins cover their heads and run off. Spyro smiles when 2 more goblins grab him from behind.
Hey, hey, it's us.
We told you we'd be back.
He tries to fire on them, but they clamp his snouts closed.
Nice try.
Spyro struggles, takes a deep breath, and zzz, a field of electricity surges around him.
Ow!
Goblin 5 and Goblin 6 are thrown off, as if zapped by a stun gun. Spyro pulls himself to his feet when a rope goes over his neck.
I'm sorry.
Spyro gets fucking
It's
lynched.
got dark. Hey!
And then another rope lassos him. Then another. 3 goblins drop from the ceiling with the ends of the ropes.
They're goblins now. They're goblins.
Oh, they're goblins now,
Oh.
okay.
Goblins.
3 goblins drop from the ceiling, a totally new enemy, with the ends of the ropes. Spyro tries to shoot fire on them, but the goblins tug on the ropes, jerking him back and forth. Oh my.
No.
They start to, oh, just fucking no. They start to pull him off. When, from out of nowhere, Sparx suddenly charges up with a stick, screaming at the top of his lungs. Smack, smack, smack. He goes from one goblin to the other, hitting them in their faces.
You like that? How about this?
He darts behind them and, thunk, 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 hits them over their heads.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He keeps hitting them until they screech and drop their ropes and run off.
Yeah, anyone else want a piece of me? Come on!
Spyro can't believe his eyes.
Sparx, that was amazing.
Shut the fuck up.
Oops, okay.
What? Well, what happened? Did I just back up?
He notices the stick in his hand and sees the goblins all around them.
Whoa, what am I doing? Let's get out of here! Flight, Spyro, remember, fly!
Sparx is just Zenitsu at this point.
Sparx flies off. Spyro runs after him and up to Ignitus, who's just dispatching with the goblins on his neck. But still more are flooding into the room.
There are too many. Hunter, come on.
Hunter turns and leaps onto Ignitus's back,
Oh,
and they all flee through the shattered opening in the crumbled wall. Spyro charges down the temple stairs. Sparx flies by his side, terrified.
Hurry up, hurry up, hurry up!
Goblins start popping up all around them, and Ignitus, flying away with Hunter on his back, does his best to blast them away. Blast, blast, blast!
Go! Don't stop! My fools!
Spyro and Sparx flee down the stairs and into the nearby forest. But then...
Oh no!
Spyro just catches himself before he runs off a cliff. He looks over the edge. It's a deep ravine that looks like it goes on forever. Spyro teeters on the edge as Sparx flies past him.
Come on, Spyro. Fly.
What? You know I can't.
Ignitus takes to the air with Hunter on his back and swoops around to face Spyro.
You can, and you must. You are a dragon.
Spyro looks back. The goblins are closing in on him. He looks over the edge of the ravine. It's now or never.
Listen, Spyro. Listen to the blood of your ancestors. Let them lift you up.
Spyro closes his eyes, trying to listen.
Why don't you lift me up?
Now fly, dragon, fly!
Spyro takes a few steps and leaps off the edge of the cliff. He floats there in the air for a moment, as if the whole world has slowed down. And then, his little wings start flapping. He stays aloft. It's jerky and awkward, but...
I'm doing it! I'm doing it!
Sparx suddenly appears beside him.
Aha! Look at that! That boy can actually fly!
Fat shaming.
Fat shaming him. He's so rude.
2009.
Can you believe it, Sparx? I'm flying! I'm actually flying! It feels amazing!
Spyro flaps his wings and climbs even higher in the air. He shoots through the clouds, a broad smile on his face when... Roar! An enormous black shape appears before him. Ah! It's Cynder! Spyro tries to put on the brakes, but he hasn't learned how to do that yet. Cynder swoops towards him and reaches out with her talons, but then she suddenly stops. She hangs there in the air, staring at Spyro. A light seems to come on in her eyes that we haven't seen before. Spyro sees it too. He's stunned. They float there, staring at each other, when... Ignitus suddenly appears from out of nowhere, slamming Cynder away.
Get back, beast!
Cynder rolls, but then rights herself and spins back around. Blast! She fires! Ignitus dodges, but Cynder is upon him. She tackles him. They grapple in the air, and Hunter falls off Ignitus's back.
Hunter!
Ignitus goes to dive after him, but he can't get out of Cynder's grasp. Spyro watches Hunter fall through the air and, without thinking, suddenly drops his wings and goes into a dive. He races after him and... swoop! He catches him right before he hits the ground.
Young one.
Spyro flies wildly through the sky with Hunter hanging upside down. They finally land safely on the ground, and Hunter gives Spyro a look of shocked gratitude.
You deserve every bow.
Hunter's knees weaken, shocked by his own performance. He then hears a roar and looks up to see Ignitus still facing off with Cynder in the air. Blast! Ignitus blasts her wing, but Cynder is strong and quickly fires back. Blast! 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 Her black fire hits Ignitus in the chest, throwing him backwards in the air. Before he can recover, Cynder sends an explosive stream of black fire at him. Whoosh! Ignitus roars in pain and goes limp in midair. He starts falling from the sky.
Ignitus!
Ignitus falls and falls until slam! He hits the ground, shaking the earth. Spyro, Hunter, and Sparx rush to his side.
Big Red?
Ignitus! Are you okay?
Ignitus turns to them, his eyes unable to focus.
Spyro.
Spyro grabs him and tries to help him to his feet.
Ignitus, get up! We have to get out of here! The Dark Master!
No. That is not the Dark Master. It is only his apprentice.
What?
Spyro looks up to see Cynder dropping down behind them.
It doesn't matter. We have to get out of here now.
Ignitus weakly raises his head and looks at Spyro.
Two there are. No more. No less. Spyro, you must believe. Believe in what you are and let your ancestors show the way. Only then will you fulfill your destiny.
Ignitus gives Spyro one last look, and then starts to fade away. His thick, leathery hide is becoming translucent. Spyro's eyes widen in horror.
What's happening? Ignitus?
Ignitus's deep red color flows out of his body and streams into the sky. And then, he's gone.
Ignitus. Let the water throw right through this broken soul.
What the fuck is happening?
Spyro stares at the patch of ground where Ignitus once lay, and then an evil cackle rises behind him.
And now to finish this, once and for all.
Spyro, Hunter, and Sparx turn to see Cynder stalking towards them.
Say goodbye, Dragon of Prophecy.
Cynder clenches, inhales, and suddenly the ground beneath Spyro, Sparx, and Hunter gives way, swallowing them into the earth. Cynder's black fire just misses them, and when the dust settles, they're gone, and the earth is again intact. Cynder rushes to the spot where they were standing. It's solid.
What?
She stomps her feet and...
Roar.
She blows a torrent of black fire into the sky. Cut to underground. We are pulled through the dirt with Spyro, Hunter, and Sparx. Roots and rocks shoot by us as we're dragged deeper and deeper into the earth.
Spyro, what's going on?
Suddenly, a light appears at the end of the tunnel. They died.
Oh, good
and
Lord.
thump, thump, thump. Spyro, Sparx, and Hunter drop into a soft bed of mud and moss. Scurrying sounds are heard, and little yellow eyes appear all around them.
Hunter?
Hunter squints into the darkness.
Moliere?
A short, mole-like creature with squinty eyes steps into the light and wriggles his nose at Hunter.
Hunter? Thank goodness we got to you in time, old friend. Where is Ignitus?
Hunter looks down and solemnly shakes his head.
It was the black minion of the Dark Master. She was too much for him. What? It's not possible. The great Ignitus? Fallen?
Moliere drops his head, and more mole people step into the light around him. They exchange solemn looks.
We came as soon as we felt the movements of the earth. It is our fault. We should have been swifter. We should have...
Moliere trails off, suddenly noticing Spyro.
Is this?
Hunter nods. Moliere and the moles brighten.
And perhaps the all is not yet lost. Moles, behold, the great dragon of prophecy.
Spyro looks around to see all the moles looking at him with hopes in their eyes. Hunter gets down on one knee while...
proposes to him.
Spyro, will you marry me? Hunter gets down on one knee and addresses Spyro more intimately.
Told you he's proposing.
I can only imagine what you're feeling right now, young one. But the loss of Ignitus cannot prevent you from fulfilling your destiny. It is up to you now. It is up to you to save us all.
Spyro looks at Hunter, looks at all the moles, and... Spyro rushes through the tunnel. Sparx chases after him.
Spyro, stop! Come on, wait up!
Spyro stops and Sparx catches up, out of breath.
Oh, where are you going?
There still may be time to get back to the Glen. We can warn Mom and Dad. We can hide and...
Sparx flies in front of him.
You fucking stupid! The Glen? Don't you remember? If the Dark Master gets his way, there's not gonna be Glens anymore! There's just gonna be darkness!
There's nothing I can do about it, Sparx. Ignitus was right. I'm not ready. And now that he's gone, I'll never be. There's nothing left to do but leave, run, and get as far away from here as possible.
Spyro turns to run down the tunnel. Sparx stops him.
Well, Spyro, you don't have that choice anymore!
Spyro gives Sparx a searching look.
What? What are you talking about?
Remember, you're a dragon fly! Spyro, you're a dragon! And dragons don't have a choice! They don't got any rights!
Oh, Jesus.
They fight!
Spyro looks at him, taking this in, and then looks away.
But even if I wanted to, I can't do it alone.
Well, you don't have to! I'll fight with you!
Spyro looks at Sparx, taken in by his sudden bravery. Oh wait, shit. Taken by his suddenly bravery?
No, the sentence doesn't make sense. You were right the first time.
Taken by his suddenly bravery.
Your autocorrect works.
My autocorrect worked. Spyro looks at Sparx, taken in by his sudden bravery. And then...
As will we.
Spyro turns to see Moliere and the entire mole tribe standing behind him with picks and axes. And then...
And the cheetahs are already on their way, 10,000 strong.
Spyro turns again to see Hunter standing behind him, his sword unsheathed.
We will all fight by your side, great dragon prophecy.
Hunter bows, and everyone bows with him, even Sparx. Spyro looks at the room full of his new allies. It's an awesome sight. He takes a deep breath. The choice has been made. Dissolved to the Mountain of Malefor, Room of Shadows. The red eyes of the Dark Master stare at the life gem as the red essence of Ignitus flows into it.
Is that the mighty guardian Ignitus I see?
The gem suddenly pulses, illuminating the silhouettes of the ghostly dragons inside.
Yes! His fire will serve me well.
There's a flutter of wings, and Cynder appears inside the chamber. The red eyes turn on her and narrow.
Why have you returned? I sense your errand is not yet complete.
Cynder bows down before him.
Into the ground. What was I supposed to do? I do not know what happened, Master. Some form of magic came to his aid and...
You failed me!
Cynder steps back, terrified.
I'm sorry, my lord,
Boom! A blast of purple fire suddenly explodes out of the darkness and knocks Cynder back.
Is there no creature capable of doing my bidding?
Boom! Another blast of purple fire slams into Cynder, and she begins to shrink.
Even you, who I nurtured, who I created.
Boom! The Dark Master blasts her again, and Cynder writhes on the ground and shrinks some more. Her mighty black mass is becoming smaller and smaller, until all that remains is a young black dragon about Spyro's size. She shudders on the ground when suddenly a shadow falls on her, and the Dark Master finally steps out of the darkness. He's massive, monolithic, bulging with muscle and sinew, and he's purple, just like Spyro. He turns his red eyes on little Cynder and shakes his head.
What a disappointment you turned out to be.
He inhales and is about to give her one final blast when...
Master! You've cucked me long enough, Master.
The Dark Master stops and turns to see Pox fluttering in the window.
You should see this, Master.
The Dark Master turns to the window to see what looks like a great army on the horizon. Moles, cheetahs, and the silhouette of a small dragon leading them. The Dark Master narrows his eyes.
So it shall be.
He picks up the life gem, hangs it around his neck with a chain, and flies out of the room with an earth-shattering flutter of wings. Flutter feels like the wrong word to use. Yeah. A red sun rises over the Black Mountain Castle. Herds of elemental beasts and legions of goblins occupy a sprawling encampment surrounding the fortress like an army laying in wait. I mean, that's probably exactly what it is. An army laying in wait. Anyway, suddenly the Dark Master bursts from the highest tower and alights on the lower parapet. The goblins and elemental beasts seem to all gasp collectively.
Goblins, beasts, loyal legions in the service of darkness. The dawn of eternal night is upon us. Today we fight our final battle, and tomorrow these lands belong to us.
The beasts screech with delight and wave their clubs and maces.
Now go! Show them the folly of their hope.
The goblins and elemental beasts let out a guttural battle cry and charge towards the approaching army. We zoom across the field to see Spyro, wearing a golden battle helmet, hovering at the head of the army of moles and cheetahs. His eyes widen at the sight of the Dark Master's beast charging towards him. He tries to steel himself. Beside him, Sparx, wearing his own little battle helmet, gulps.
Hey, you know something? I think I've might have left the campfire on. Better go check.
Sparx goes to fly off, but Spyro grabs him and turns him back around. He sets his jaw and suddenly kicks off and takes to the sky. Hunter and Moliere take off beside him, and the cheetahs and mole men charge. The two armies get closer. Closer, closer, and clash! They meet with a clatter of metal against metal. Cheetah warriors throw their spears and swing their swords. Mole men scatter with their picks and axes. The battle has begun. A huge elemental beast picks up a cheetah when Hunter leaps onto its back and knocks him out. He helps the other cheetahs up, and the two charge back into battle. Moliere and two other mole men charge towards a row of goblins. The goblins snicker, raise their maces, and swipe! Moliere and the moles suddenly dive into the ground and create a hole in the earth. Before they know it, the goblins fall in and are buried up to their necks. Up in the air, Spyro and Sparx hover over the battle, not helping. Spyro sees two elemental beasts overcoming a cheetah warrior. He looks at Sparx. Sparx nods.
Bring it.
Spyro grits his teeth and dives towards the battlefield. He flies behind the elemental beasts and closes his eyes.
Okay, reach for the fire. Reach for the fire, reach for the...
He inhales and blast! The elemental beasts are blown backwards, hit the ground and burst into bits.
Yeah!
Sparx pumps his fist.
Whoa! Now that's what I call a barbecue! Nice one, great juice!
Spyro smiles and turns back to the battle. He sees 4 goblins chasing a group of mole men. He narrows his eyes and dives towards them.
Hey, is it hot out here or is it just you?
Fucking hell.
He inhales and poof!
You guys doing
He only
anything
makes a
later?
puff of smoke. The goblins grin. They raise their maces when they suddenly disappear from view. Spyro looks down to see Moliere burying them in a big hole.
Thanks, Moliere.
There are more of them.
He points. Spyro turns and sees a dozen more goblins closing in.
Uh-oh. There's a blizzard inside me, there's a blizzard inside me, there's a...
He inhales and blast! Shoots a torrent of ice, freezing the goblins in place just before they clobber him.
Yeah!
Sparx flies up.
Sure.
Tink! Sparx taps the frozen goblins with a stick, and they shatter.
Thanks, Spot.
Slam! From out of nowhere, Pox lands on Spyro's head and slaps his wings over his eyes, sending Spyro into a tailspin.
Surprise, bitch.
Whoa!
Oh, you like that? You're gonna love these.
Pox bares his fangs and is about to bite Spyro on the neck when...
Hey, Batbrain! Why don't you pick on someone your own size?
BAM! Sparx suddenly flies into frame and knocks Pox off of Spyro.
I got this one, Spyro!
Thanks, Sparx.
Spyro flies off and blasts more goblins with his fire and ice. Sparx and Pox face off in midair.
Fuck you up!
What are you supposed to be?
A firefly.
You talking to
You
me?
don't believe my
You
eyes.
talking to me? You wanna know what I am? I'm your worst nightmare! I'm gonna fuck you up!
BAM! Sparx punches Pox in the eye.
Ow. Hey, I wasn't ready.
You're definitely in fireflies!
BAM! 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 Sparx hits him 3 more
Ow,
times.
ow, ow. That's it. You're asking for it.
Pox opens his fangs wide and dive bombs Sparx. Sparx casually flies to the side and thunk! Pox slams into a tree stump. He goes to pull himself off, but his fangs are stuck.
Hey, get shut there.
Sparx chuckles and flies off. He
Motherfucker.
catches back up with Spyro as he's taking down more goblins.
Hey, Sparx, let's see what else is inside me.
Spyro turns and zooms towards a gang of elemental beasts flying after some cheetahs. He swoops down, inhales, and... Zzz, bolts of lightning shoot out of his mouth, shocking the beasts. They shudder and keel over.
Yeah, murder.
3 more of them. Their maces raised. Spyro closes his eyes, inhales, and shoosh! A gust of wind rushes out of him, blowing the elemental beasts, plus 10 more behind them, across the battlefield.
Now that was cool.
Mole men and cheetahs cheer. Spyro looks around. They now outnumber the goblins and elemental beasts. They're doing it. They're actually...
Enough!
The Dark Master suddenly drops from the sky and appears before Spyro. Spyro's eyes widen in horror at the enormous purple dragon hanging in the air before him.
Spyro! He's purple! Like you!
Spyro hovers in the air, gaping at the Dark Master. The Dark Master gives him an amused smile.
Well, what are you waiting for? Didn't you come here to destroy me? Isn't that your destiny?
Blast! The Dark Master shoots a breath of purple fire at Spyro, but Spyro dodges.
That's right. And that's exactly what I'm gonna do!
Blast! Spyro shoots a torrent of ice at the Dark Master. It coats his enormous wings, freezing them in place. Spyro beams, but the Dark Master looks back and easily shrugs off the ice.
Uh-oh.
The Dark Master's tail suddenly comes out of nowhere and whips Spyro.
Wah!
How do you like that, you naughty little boy?
He goes tumbling through the air. He finally rights himself and whoosh unleashes a powerful blast of fire at the Dark Master.
Ah!
The Dark Master is blown back and Spyro flies after him and continues his attack. Zap! A bolt of lightning. Whoosh! A blast of wind. Boom! Another blast of fire. The Dark Master flounders, falls back, and drops towards the ground. Sparx and the rest of the creatures hold their breaths. Is this the end?
He's doing it! He's doing it!
Spyro flies after the Dark Master, blasting him as fast as he can. Zap! Whoosh! Boom! He tries to close in on him, but... The Dark Master spins and backhands him with his wing. Spyro flies back, tumbling through the sky, and then it happens so fast. The Dark Master is suddenly upon him, blasting him with a ferocity we've never seen. Boom, 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 over and over in unending bursts of purple fire. Spyro was blown back and forth in midair. Boom, 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 it's too much for him. He's engulfed by the fire. He drops from the sky and falls lifelessly to the ground. He's fucking dead. Sparx gasps. Hunter and Moliere turn. The Dark Master cackles and lands before Spyro.
I spent years searching these lands for you. And now that you lie before me, I realize what a waste it's been.
Spyro squints up at the Dark Master and sees the life gem hanging around his neck. The ghostly silhouettes of fallen dragons swirl inside. And then Spyro sees his own reflection cast on the face of the gem. It's almost as if he's right there among the generations of dragons that came before him. They swirl past him and... is that Ignitus? As he passes.
Believe. You must believe.
A new look comes into Spyro's eyes as the Dark Master inhales and prepares to deliver his final blow.
You're not the dragon of prophecy. You're barely even a dragon.
Boom! The Dark Master unloads his breath of fire, but Spyro rolls out of the way just in time. He leaps into the air and flaps defiantly before the Dark Master.
You're wrong. I am the Dragon of Prophecy. The blood of my ancestors courses through my veins. I can finally feel it. And now, so will you.
Spyro inhales and... blast! A volcano of fire suddenly explodes from his mouth, purple and pulsing with energy. It blows the Dark Master back and engulfs the life gem on his chest. The gem seems to absorb the flames for a moment and then... kaboom! It shatters in a flash of blinding light. The world is silent as the Dark Master hangs there in the sky, his eyes wide, and then he starts to disappear. He fades into the harsh light and then he's gone.
No! Don't banish me to the Shadow Realm!
Oh my god, it was
Spyro
a
watches
Shadow
as
Legacy reference.
the sky starts to dim and the pieces of the gem start to come back together in the air. The shards reassemble themselves and the life gem glows one more time and then plunges itself into the ground, shaking the earth. Pox pulls his teeth out of the stump and flaps into the air.
Master! Wait for me!
No! Leave me alone, you little pervert!
Pox zooms into the ground after the gem. The world quakes around him and then settles. Spyro looks around, squinting through the fog and smoke, and sees the goblins and elemental beasts sinking back into the ground. They whine as their bodies turn back into dirt and mud and fall to pieces. A strong wind picks up around Spyro, and the clouds start to part. The sky clears and brightens, and the blackened earth is swept into the horizon, turning the land back into the green valley it once was. Spyro's face lights up along with the world around him when...
I'm back, Spyro. I told you you were a very special dragon.
It's just that Snapchat that's like, I lived, bitch. Spyro spins to see Ignitus standing in the fog.
Ignitus?
Ignitus steps up and smiles warmly.
You did it, young Spyro. You saved us all.
Ignitus escorts Spyro out of the fog to see hundreds and hundreds of dragons. There are blue ones, and green ones, and brown ones. A dragon for every colour of the rainbow.
Yeah, what
and then
fucking
100
rainbow
more.
has brown in it?
Spyro is awestruck.
Would you like to meet all of them? Fucking hell. Would you like to meet them?
There's so many of them. Where do we even begin?
I wasn't serious. There's like thousands of them to take ages.
Not every dragon knows every other dragon, Spyro. That's racist.
Gonna go on a speed date.
Ignitus smiles.
Let's start with my brother guardians.
Ignitus leads Spyro to a group of 3 noble dragons. The first one is yellow and looks frenetic, intellectual.
Voltaire, allow me to present Spyro.
Voltaire grabs Spyro's hand and frantically shakes it.
It watches on the miraculous, incredible, stupendous dragon of your size defeating the Dark Master. I'm flummoxed.
Wow, they actually use dialogue from the game.
All right, Voltaire, calm down. You'll have plenty of time to express yourself during his training.
My training?
Yes, these are your new mentors. Voltaire will teach you how to refine your powers of electricity.
Voltaire nods enthusiastically. Ignitus gestures to a blue dragon with a stodgy look on his face.
And this camp one is Cyril. He will show you how to better control your eyes.
It will be an honour, old chap. What you did out there was smashing. Really smashing. Can't wait to get into it with you and chop it up.
Wow, thanks.
Ignitus steps up to the last guardian, a mighty green dragon that seems rough around the edges. He's Ignitus's husband.
This is my boyfriend, Spyro.
They're gay for each other.
Will help you hone your powers of Earth.
It's clear that you have some skills, but they are very crude. Perhaps with some guidance, you will become a truly great warrior.
Spyro nods. Ignitus steps in front of the guardians and smiles down at him.
And of course, I will always be here for you. Your mentor of fire.
My new dads.
Spyro gazes up at his new mentors in awe when Sparx suddenly flies up.
Spyro, come quick! It's
What? What is it, Sparx?
I think it's what was the name? Cynder.
I mean, I was gonna point out, how do they know Cinder's name?
Yeah, they.
All
I'm
they know
reading
about
the
is
script.
the female
Oh
dragon.
my god, it's the woman! The only female dragon, holy shit!
Sparx points to a small black dragon limping out of the mountain of Malefor.
What?
Cynder meekly looks around at all the dragons coming out of the fog.
Come, little one. It's okay.
As Cynder cautiously approaches, Spyro looks up at Ignitus, confused.
I don't know how I know her name, but Cynder was once an egg in the temple just like you, until the Dark Master got to her. Your pasts are linked, as will be your futures.
I'm shipping you in my head cannon.
Spyro looks at Cynder.
I think I knew. Outside the Dragon Temple. I sensed something. Something I couldn't explain.
Cynder looks at all the dragons looking down at her.
I'm so sorry. I did so many terrible things.
Spyro approaches her.
It's okay, he's gone now. Everything is gonna be different.
They exchange a smile when Sparx flies up.
That's right, it is. Let's hear it for my brother, Spyro the Dragon. Roll credits.
The entire crowd of dragons and mole men and cheetah cheer.
Yeah!
Woo! Yeah!
Hey! Oh wait, I defected.
Dissolve 2. A pleasant field. Wildflowers bloom. Pollen drifts lazily in the breeze. Sunlight streams through the trees. Spyro flies up, flanked by Sparx and Cynder. Sparx is talking a mile a minute.
It was just amazing, and you were like, Zoo! And I was like, oh man, you got me! And you were like, think that's bad? We're gonna get a little bit of this! And he was like,
I know, Sparx, I was there, remember? You've been recapping it the whole way.
Sparx gives him a smile.
I'm just excited to get home and tell everyone about it.
Spyro smiles. Cynder looks at him.
Do you think it will be okay? Will they let me stay?
Of course. They let me stay, remember?
But you didn't murder hundreds of people.
She didn't murder hundreds of people.
Alright, she
First
still
time
murdered
showed up,
Ignitus.
She killed Ignitus.
Sorry, I killed
but
your
no.
dad.
Well, technically she didn't, because he came back to life.
I murdered
so
one
does that
person.
not
They're trying
murder
to
the
do-
person?
Scared of my
She's
abusive
committed
dad.
no crime.
Let me
I
stay
got
here.
better.
They're trying to do Cynder's arc from the game without making her commit all the atrocities she did in the game. So it's just like, I'm a monster. You didn't do a tenth of the shit you did in the game.
She PG-13 killed Ignitus.
She murdered Daddy.
Cynder smiles.
I wonder if they heard about it yet. You think they're expecting us? Yeah?
Suddenly, the trees part to reveal all the dragonflies in the glen. They cheer. Spyro and Sparx light up. Flash and Luna appear in the crowd and fly towards them.
Oh, Dad!
Sparx flies to meet them and hugs them both.
Oh, my boy, my beautiful boy.
Dream boys.
Shut the fuck up.
Flash opens his arms to Spyro.
Come here, son.
Spyro beams and flies to them. Flash smiles.
Hey, look, he found his wings.
I'm so proud of you, honey, but you know you have to be careful. There are lots of crazy flyers out there.
Trust me. I think you can handle it.
Spyro laughs as Sparx zooms in a circle and comes face to face with the beautiful dragonfly Glimmer.
Oh, hi, Glimmer. How's it going?
Glimmer looks at him and... She turns and flies off towards her friends, mortified.
Oh my god! Did you see that? It talked to me! Sparx the hero actually talked to me!
Sparx the hero! That has a nice ring to it, eh?
Well, sure beats why.
Spyro and Sparx exchange a smile when...
Yo, Gigantoid.
Spyro turns to see that Dragonfly Bully is fluttering in front of him. Spyro narrows his eyes at him when...
Can I have your autograph?
The Dragonfly Bully holds out a leaf and a piece of charcoal, and a group of other young dragonflies fly up behind him.
Me too!
Yeah, me too. Hey, Spyro, me too.
Yeah, me too, me too.
I want your babies!
Spyro smiles and starts signing. Spyro flies up and lands on the edge of the cliff. He gazes out over the landscape, letting the wind catch his wings and raise them up behind him. Match dissolved too. A new fresco painted in the Room of the Elders. It's the exact same image. Spyro, the dragon of prophecy, looking towards his future. Suddenly, crack! The entire panel crumbles to pieces, revealing Sparx fluttering behind it.
I didn't touch it! I swear!
The end. Yeah!
Spyro will return. Fine. I guess you are my little pox champ. Come here.
Oh, Master, I never thought you'd ask.